Have you ever carried a backpack that started out light, but the longer you walked, the heavier it felt? At first, you barely noticed it, but then more things got added to it. A book here, a laptop there, maybe a water bottle, a few extra papers, and before you know it, the weight starts pulling on your shoulders. Your posture changes, your pace changes, the way you move through the day changes. But to everyone around you, it still looks like a backpack. That's a little bit like what happens to many parents after a child receives a diagnosis. From the outside, life may look the same. From the inside, internally, something has shifted. Your responsibilities shift, your awareness shifts, and sometimes even your identity and relationship shifts in ways no one prepares you for. There are things I wish I understood about that earlier. After a diagnosis, something subtle begins to change. You are still a parent, but you also start becoming other things: an advocate, a researcher, a coordinator of appointments and services, someone who is constantly learning new information and trying to make decisions that affect your child's future. And sometimes that shift happens so gradually that you don't even realize it until one day you look around and think, when did all of this become my responsibility? It can feel like the backpack suddenly just got heavier. Before the diagnosis, you may have moved through the world a little differently. You might not have noticed the systems working, or they work or they don't work. You might not have paid attention to how schools support different learners. You may not have noticed how environments affect regulation, communication, or inclusion. But once your child is part of that experience, your awareness expands. You start noticing things other people walk right past. And sometimes that awareness is empowering, but sometimes it's exhausting because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Another thing people really don't talk about is how relationships sometimes shift after a diagnosis. Some people step closer. They want to understand. They want to help. They would ask thoughtful questions. Those people become your anchors. But sometimes other relationships change, not always because people don't care, but because they don't fully understand what your daily life now involves and looks like. The rhythms of your life may change. Your schedule may look different. Your priorities definitely look different, and that can create some distance in places you didn't expect. One thing I've learned is that this diagnosis often clarifies who is truly in your support circle. Some people will show up in very practical ways, maybe sometimes offering to help with transportation to appointments, sometimes watching your child so that you can get some rest for a few hours. Sometimes simply listening without trying to fix everything. Those moments matter more than people realize. Support doesn't always have to look big. Sometimes it just looks like someone saying, I see how hard you're working. Another shift that happens quietly is within yourself. You start reevaluating what matters, what you spend your time on, how you define success, what you are willing to advocate for, what you are willing to challenge. Your identity expands. You are still the same person, but you are also someone who now carries knowledge, experience, and resilience that you didn't have before. The backpack may feel heavy sometimes, but it also contains strength you didn't know you had. One of the things that I wish I knew earlier is that this journey does not require you to lose yourself. Yes, parenting a child with additional needs requires commitment and advocacy, but you are still allowed to laugh. You're still allowed to have those interests. You're still allowed to rest. You're still allowed to exist outside of appointments and plans. Your life does not have to shrink. It can evolve. And this brings me to the backpack analogy. Over time, you learn something important. You don't have to carry it alone. Some of the weight can be shared with supportive relatives, trusted professionals, with other parents who understand this journey. And when the weight is shared, you can walk a little steadier. If you ever notice shifts in yourself or your relationship since your child's diagnosis, you are not imagining it at all. Change is a part of this journey, but change does not have to mean isolation. You can still build meaningful connections and a life that feels balanced. Looking back, one of the things I wish I knew is that a diagnosis doesn't just change your child's path. Sometimes it changes yours too. And that shift can feel overwhelming at first, but it can also lead to deeper understanding, stronger advocacy, and a clearer sense of purpose. This video is part of my series, Things I Wish I Knew. In the next video, we're going to talk about something that many parents carry quietly, the guilt that can show up along this journey and how to move through it. If this conversation resonates with you, stay connected, comment, let's talk about it. You don't have to walk this path alone. I'll see you in the next one.